Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
And this is Chinta Strausberg, producer and host of On the Case, and I am honored to share the next 30 minutes with Reverend Hosea Hines, and he is pastor of Christ Tabernacle Church, and he has another long title. He's head of A New Day Coalition for Equity and Black America, otherwise known as ZANCEBA. Welcome to On the Case, Reverend Hosea Hines from Mississippi. Reverend, are you there? Reverend Hines is quite a leader down in Mississippi. I've covered him for a long time. And I remember back in January of 2024, where he joined attorney Ben Crump, the famous lawyer, and he was calling for an investigation because they found 215 bodies behind a jail in Mississippi. Now, that was a national, in fact, that story went national, and because of the history of Mississippi. And anyway, are you there, Reverend Hosea Hines? All right, I don't see. All right. Are you there? Okay. We're having a little technical problems right now. But anyway, Mississippi has a history of lynchings. And also, they have one of the highest numbers of hangings in the South during a period of, I think it was 1890 to, I think it was 1940. And that's I didn't think they were hanging blacks in 1940, but they were. It's a terrible history, and it's a history that President Trump wants to erase. And that's why I get so upset with number 47, as I call him, because you cannot erase our history. And America, we built America as in forced labor. It was forced labor. We are not immigrants. We are forced slaves. And he just wants to erase that. You can't do that. And then, as I've told you before, he and that Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, they erased my cousin's name from the website. Milton Leano III was the first African American to have received a Medal of Honor during the Vietnam War. He spotted a live grenade on October 22nd, 1965. He chose to take that grenade, a live grenade, place it on his stomach, and allowed it to explode. And it killed that 18-year-old man, but he chose to die. He saved the lives of 4 men. 2 of them were white, 2 of them were black. All of them have today great-grandchildren because of this skinny little scrawny kid from Inglewood here in Chicago. And to take his name off of all federal military websites is very painful for me. I have tried to contact the senators. One of them called me, their staff called me back, but she kept leaving messages, and I just, I don't know. It's just very, very painful, very painful. But I would like for you to give us a call, and that number is 727-731-5192. Give us a call at 727-737-731-5192. The number is scrolling under the name. So I'm just upset with so many things that are going on right now, because the SNAP program, once again, the president has stopped the funding for the SNAP program. the supplemental nutrition assistance program that our children need, our adults need. And then they put all these work, uh, required work mandates attached to the program. Millions will lose this program because of that. And it's just not fair. But they easily gave $7.4 billion to the highest one percenters in the nation. They didn't ask for, the rich did not ask for this this raise. This it's not a raise for them. It's a bonus. It's a gift. Our money, our money given to the rich because it was because they contributed to Trump's campaign, and it's just not fair. It's absolutely not fair at all. But he's done that, and then the blowing up of boats in the Caribbean. I still say that's murder. And I don't care if they don't like it or not. It is murder when you say that they are smuggling drugs in the Caribbean Sea, but you have no proof. You offer no proof, and and you just give the order to shoot and kill. To me, that's murder because when you are suspected of a crime in America, you are supposed to be arrested and the evidence uh, collected and investigated, and then you go before you're jailed, of course, and then you go before a court of law. Trump has skipped over this. He's hop sketched over all of this. It's just not fair. It's not right. It's immoral. He's just becoming a dictator. That's what he wants. And the Republicans are aiding and abetting him. That's wrong too. And people should not forget this in 2026. And I beg all of you, if you hear my voice, please, please register to vote. And don't go fishing and don't do like last year. I think it was like 4 million blacks did not vote. They just gave up and went fishing. You can't do that because your very lives depend upon it. Believe me, your lives depend upon it. So register your whole household. Register. Take on the role of being a neighborhood voter watchdog if you want. And um, so I just want you to be registered to vote. It's very, very important. Please call in with your comments at 727-731-5192. Like to hear from you. Pastor Hines is not with us anymore. Okay. All right, so we shall see. Naomi, can you hear me? There you are, but I don't hear you now. um, Unmute your mic.
You, of course,
I can hear you.
are about to talk to Pastor Hines as soon as he can work out getting his camera open. And if
Okay.
not, we'll certainly have him by phone. But we're going to take a quick break and come right back because you've got some fabulous guests tonight. You have, in addition to Pastor Hines, Enoch Muhammad, that is just doing some outstanding work that we need
Yes.
to hear about with
Yes.
the hip hop detox. So we're looking forward to that, and also hearing from Pastor Reverend
Hosea Hines.
Hosea Hines
Yes.
and the history that he represents. And the fascinating thing about that, of course, is that so many young people have not heard the stories, and it always helps to hear from those who are making history happen. So we appreciate all that he represents, and he's working on getting his camera and mic open so that he can join you on screen. But if not, we'll hear his illustrious voice in just a minute. And so we're going to take a quick break, hear from some of our sponsors, and We invite all of you all to stick and stay. Don't stray away. Give us a call. Call in 727-731-5192 because Chinta wants to talk to you and wants you to talk to her too. So we'll be right back. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network. Call 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair.
Hey family, this is Charles Humphrey of MCH Publishing, and I'm here with Ashada, and we at the Soulful Chicago Book what?
This is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, slamming.
We getting down in Hyde Park. Just run it down, my sister. Just tell us, for the people, a little bit about what we're doing here today and why.
You know, this is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, and this month is very important. I feel like we don't give it the type of recognition that it needs, but beyond that, I do all things literary, and we have so many ancestors that have taken a tradition of writing and done great things. Well, we have those of us that are carrying on that tradition, and nobody knows about them until now. So the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair is allowing us to tell our stories according to ourselves for our own benefit, and it's just beautiful. I mean, she could have been here today if you wasn't here, but if you were, it's been amazing. People came in consistently, children, and we have children's authors, we have nonfiction authors, we have fiction authors. This is really good, and it's about taking our own power in our own hands and doing what we do on the literary tip, though.
Right.
I gotta work, but I can't help it. Everything going to school. Now I just about bring my African shit like this. Bring it the African shit.
We're back. I'm Chinta Strausberg, producer and host of On the Case, a talk show on the Female Solution website. That is a global website. And we're interviewing Reverend Hosea Hines. He's pastor of Christ Tabernacle Church. He's also head of the New Day Coalition for Equity and Black America, otherwise known as ANSIBA. Reverend, are you there? All right, we're still working with that. So he has quite a history. He's got a lot of churches underneath him, and he works very closely with the Chicago clergy here. Can you hear me, Reverend? Okay, so he works very, very closely with the Chicago ministers, and I'm glad to hear that because when blacks left the South, many of them came to Chicago, and he's tapping into those resources, second, third, fourth, maybe fifth generations of people who came from Mississippi. And ironically, they're still fighting for the same things just about. And it's kind of painful too that we're going backwards. And we're going backwards because of President Donald Trump. And I just want people to do their research, do their homework, because every time Trump opens his mouth, it's another lie. And there are 75 million people voted for him because they believed in him. And I think many of them have, as my pastor, Father Flager, says, woke. They become woke. They're realizing that he is not the man that they thought he was, and he's not. He is out to make money. Already since January 20th, since he was sworn into office, he has made $3 billion. And he actually gave Argentina $40 billion. And you know, if he's so concerned about homelessness in America, which is why he sent all those ICE agents to Washington, D.C. and to Chicago and New Orleans, the cities with black mayors, which to me is racist anyway. But to end homelessness in Chicago, according to HUD officials, it only takes $20 billion. But yet he gives away $40 billion. That is a sad, sad state of affairs for us, because it's our money he's giving away. And when you and then when you talk about the war between Russia and Ukraine, he negotiates on behalf of Putin, his friend. Putin is an enemy of America. So I don't understand that at all. At all. So is Reverend Hines there? Reverend Hines, are you there? Okay. So anyway, I just want you to do your homework, because in 2026, we can make a difference. We can take back control of the House and the Senate if you come out. Millions of African Americans did not come out last year. I don't know why, but they didn't. They had a choice. And they stayed home. And everybody is suffering from the results of that, because not only are, like with the SNAP program, not only are children being hurt, but also Trump supporters are being hurt. They didn't figure that out. And then when the government was closed down, they said that the Republicans said they were going to vote for the health care package. They did not. And now they're talking about sometime in 2026. And as a result, they are going to they are going to, I'm sorry about that. They are going to have their health premiums skyrocket to maybe over $1,000, some of them even more. And you know, when you don't have health insurance, the next step is the grave. So Trump doesn't care about you as long as he can make money. His sons are making money. His whole family making money. Wife has a business. But we are not making money. So don't believe the lies, okay? I just want you to understand that. And I think I have a caller.
This is Pastor Hines.
Hi, Pastor Hines. How are you? We got
Doing
a few
good,
minutes,
doing
so
good.
I was telling people about how back in January of last year you joined the attorney Ben Crump because they found 215 bodies behind a jailhouse in Mississippi. What happened with that? Did they ever find out who they were and what happened?
They found out a lot of information. I'm quite sure that they're basically completing different things. Individuals were buried. They passed away in the jail, and unfortunately, family was not notified. And so there hasn't been any other news since that period of time, because I think that DOJ came in, FBI came in, and others, and basically corrected the situation and the circumstance. So
Yes.
it was challenging, very, very challenging.
I'm sure it was. And so there was also a hanging of a 21-year-old young man, Damien.
Yeah, they did attribute that to suicide as relates to some of the students witnessed his behavior the morning that he was hanged. And they have not brought, I guess, a total conclusion as relates to it. But there's not any new news that has come out concerning that situation.
Okay, so was he bullied or what?
No, they didn't necessarily find that. It was a student body, a president, as well as some of the officers, and a few of the members saw him with kind of unfavorable behavior outside of one of the dorms as that morning. And it was just later on in the early afternoon, I think, when they found his body hanging from a tree.
I'm sorry to hear that. So
Yes, indeed.
what other problems are happening in Mississippi? I know you went through the whole water thing where you had to drink dirty water or boil your water.
Well, not necessarily. We could not drink the water, so I'm not sure that people did drink discolored water or anything like that. What happened was is that through the faith community and business community and just community itself, there were distribution spots set up in parking lots of churches, community centers, and so forth. And the clarion call across the nation, there were a plethora of 18 wheelers that came to Jackson. As it relates to that, our church, Christ Tabernacle Church in Jackson, where I'm the pastor, we were the distribution center, and we serviced roughly about 70,000 citizens of Jackson with bottles of water, big barrels of water, and many, many cases of water. So it was
Yes.
real great. Many of our pastor friends all across the nation, from New York, from New Jersey, Illinois, Arizona, Colorado, Florida, good plethora of my friends sent 18 wheelers on our lot, and we was there over a month, just trying to help citizens of Jackson. And it came out real good. And other organizations brought things like hand sanitizers. I think we had something like about 25,000 bottles of hand sanitizers, and we gave all of them out. Then they supplied again, and even though it's not a water crisis now, we are giving those to the school system, the little ones where the babies can, sanitize their hand, as well as we have a drive-through pantry each month. We put some in those, then we share them with other organizations and churches as it relates to helping and assisting that way.
Okay. And quickly, how has the Trump administration affected Jackson, Mississippi?
Well, the major thing is that it affects Jackson, even if it's not in Jackson. And what I mean by that is that we have family members. I have family members that live in Illinois, Florida, Texas, Arizona, California, and areas where they are receiving a lot of attention as it relates to negativism. It's affecting my family. So it's affecting all of us in certain ways because of the uncertainty and the instability as it relates to the administration, that you don't know what to expect. And because of that, it's causing a lot of panic, stress, frustration, and different things of that particular nature. But us as a whole, we have survived a plethora of things that the enemy thought that was going to take us out. But there's an old saying, count me, but don't count me out. And so many of us are doing things that we can, such as when the government was shut down and people were not getting their SNAP benefits. Then many of the persons in the faith community stepped up to the plate as it relates to, there's an organization called Stew Pot where they feed people on a daily basis. And we stepped up with non-perishable foods like cans of vegetables and different things of that nature, because they increased. They would normally service a little bit over 100. They were servicing 200, maybe 3. And by the faith community coming together, we was able to help and assist until the government opened back up again. Just a few churches we gathered over 5,000 cans of vegetables, corn and beans and different things of that particular nature within 1 week, and took it to Stew Pot. And then there were gracious and good donations that came through. And so some things affected us directly like that, but the most effect was what is being done to our sisters and our brothers across the nation. And that's the real irony of what's transpiring right now.
Right. Well, I'm so glad that you were able to connect with us. We're going to have you on again, since you know how to get on. So we've been interviewing Reverend Hosea Hines, pastor of the Christ Tabernacle Church, who is also head of the New Day Coalition for Equity and Black America, otherwise known as ANSIBA. So I want to thank you for being on the case, and we're going to have you back, okay?
Well, thank you. And, our nation is very, very blessed with your talents and your gifts and ability, as well as your journalism skills. And you're a tremendous blessing of sharing the right kind of news without any blockages, whiteouts, blackouts, anything of that. So we really appreciate you. And I consider you as my friend, or whatever I can do to help and assist, I'll do that. And I'm certainly looking forward to coming back and sharing with a lot of the things that are transpiring, okay?
Thank you so much, Reverend Hosea Hines. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more of On the Case right after this.
Thank you.
Everything we're made of contains light. From the sun that feeds our world to the energy that flows within us. With LifeWave X39, we've found a way to put that light to work. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHK-Cu, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality. By gently stimulating the skin with light, our non-invasive, non-transdermal X39 patches help you conquer your active lifestyle and pave a new way to vibrant health.
Have you ever felt called to start a nonprofit but had no idea where to begin? Or maybe you're already pouring your own time, energy, and money into a cause you care deeply about, but you know you could make a bigger impact with the right support. Imagine having a team behind you. Imagine being able to secure funding. Imagine scaling your mission so you can reach more people and change more lives. That's exactly what this training is designed to help you do. We've taken the entire process of launching a nonprofit and broken it down into 7 simple steps, including how to obtain your 501c3 status, how to use it effectively, and how to stay in compliance so your organization continues to thrive. You will walk away organized, confident, and most importantly, grant ready. Register now at 501c3startuptraining.eventbrite.com. That's 501c3startuptraining.eventbrite.com.
We're back. I'm Chinta Strausberg, host of On the Case, with Enoch Muhammad, co-founder of Hip Hop Detoxx. Welcome to On the Case.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm okay. This is a young man who went to the Million Man March a long time ago, and it was so impactful that he's carrying it on today. Tell us about that.
Well, first, again, peace to you and your listening audience. The Million Man March and the legacy of what transpired after October 16th for many of us is really still fresh on our brains and in our hearts because we were part of doing the work. And so many of us were doing the work prior to October 16th of 1995. And when we attended the Million Man March, it actually accelerated it. And one of the things that I would love to communicate with all those who may listen to your show, you are one of those who, the work that you've done, to me, it epitomizes the struggles and the triumphs that we have as a people. Because when you have people that are dedicated and they do what they do, and we get caught up in what some call politics, but I call it politricks. And when you politrick and you don't stand on purpose, you don't stand with integrity, you don't stand on principle, but you're full of politricks, then that's why, you need people that, are called woke, or you need people who are willing to stand in that gap and be not only the watch person, but they're willing to work in the vineyard and do what's necessary to help our people in a variety of ways, because you have many people that are full of politricks. And so I say that just to say that 30 years ago, you had people who were standing, and you have quite a few that are still standing, and those that may have transitioned on. Some of them have had those who they mentored that continue to work to this very day. So when we brought 1,000 young people to Chicago State University on October 16th, those young people didn't come to a nostalgia-filled meeting where we're talking about what was. The whole goal was to duplicate the spirit of the Million Man March in real time. And so some of the pictures and some of the videos really show young people looking as if they were at the Million Man March October 16th, 1995, because they felt the spirit in the men, and the activities and the engagement was all designed for that purpose, because October 16th was meant to be a launching for 12 months of us working with these 1,000 young people, so that way we can continue to build in that legacy.
So it must have been an extension, but what's happened today? Do you still feel that Million Man spirit today, and in the Black community in particular?
Well, when you walk with it, you don't have to wait for somebody else to activate you, because you already have it within yourself. So there are many that I'm around, that I work with, that have that spirit, because we're involved in the work. It's kind of like the whole idea of hot coals. And if you get a coal that's a little bit further away from all the hot coals, then yes, you will cool off, and you won't have that energy, you won't have that spirit. We were at a school today, and we carried the spirit of the Million Man March with us as we work with young people dealing with digital safety and helping our children to navigate this digital world, because there's so many predators and sick people out there that go on games. Like the biggest game worldwide is called Roblox. And you get satanic people who are part of organized networks that's geared towards grooming young people and finding ways to get them to do all kinds of things, whether it's the sexploitation that happens, the self-harm where they're cutting themselves, or even committing suicide on camera. So we have to take that spirit and energy of the Million Man March and now channel it into all of the areas of human activity that we can engage in to holistically help our people. Because right now we have the greatest opportunity, I think, right now, where there's no doubt about the fact that we have an adversary and adversaries in our midst that are in leadership. And whether we like this leadership or not, one thing is for sure, they are showing their true colors. And we have to be vigilant about us loving us enough to do the work that needs to be done. So the next time there's a cut and snap and EBT, we don't wait for it to happen. We channel our resources, we pull on our food growers, we pull on our farmers, we organize ourselves so that way we don't have to worry about food pantries going out and all the different stores going out. We have to now connect the dots with each other, because if we don't, there will be a next time. We don't have to ask that question. There's going to be another time within the next 38 months that you're going to get more and more crises, but we don't have to wait for the crises to hit us. We have to do what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad even said years ago, and Marcus Mosiah Garvey said years ago, and even Dr. King. We have to unite, because if we united as a people, 95% of our problems could be answered if we just united with ourselves and stop the self-hatred and the envy and the jealousy, so that we could really do some work that will allow our children's children to benefit from all that we have as a people.
And that's what I'm concerned about too, because those things that you said are not happening today. So how do you, as head of Hip Hop Detoxx, how do you get that message out to a larger audience?
Well, I think that it starts with people like yourself and others who see that this is a message that needs to get out, so then we can overcome the gatekeepers and the blockers. Because what we're talking about, what we're doing, it needs to be on platforms that got 10 million people watching it. It needs to be in those venues where we can communicate not only what we are doing, but we can get into those rooms and have those strategy sessions where there's no cameras, but we're working out what it takes for us to be able to thrive. Because right now we're in a position where we're always reacting. We're always reacting. We don't have to react. Some of us, we remember Ronald Wilson Reagan and the second term he had, when many people thought that the Democratic nominee Mondale, we thought that he was going to win and he was going to be victorious, and he wasn't. Well, we remember, some of us remember that. Some of us remembered Nixon and what happened with him. All we have to do is begin to look at, okay, we were able to survive that, but now we had to do more than just survive. We have to get on the offensive. And unfortunately, many of us, we get so frozen with fear that we're either in the fear mode and we're frozen, or we're taking flight and we're running. And we can't do that. We have to be willing to say, it's time for us to create what's necessary, the pipelines, the pathways, those things that only unity can bring. We have to begin to do those. And as our brother, the late, great Dr. Carl Bell, Dr. Carl C. Bell,
Yes,
7 principles, when he talked about reweaving the fabric of the village, we have to recognize that the village has been bombed. And we're dealing with trauma centers that need proper triages, because we have so much bloodletting going on that we got to stop the bleed spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and look at how that affects us in all areas of human activity. Because if we could just do that one thing,
yeah.
we'll be able to stop looking at each other as opposition and begin looking at each other the way we should, so that we can work together, forge the necessary plans, so that for the next 30 years, we'll chart a course that'll put us in a better position.
All right. So are you going to schools around and talking to the students? Do they allow you to do that at CPS?
Well, we don't just wait on CPS. Even though we do go into schools in CPS, we go into schools all over the Chicagoland area and all over the state of Illinois and outside of Illinois. So right now, after October 16th, I believe we went maybe the next week, we were in a school. We started off at Chicago State University, because the students there, they have an organization that our late great brother, Baba Kwesi Ronald Harris, he started an organization called Timbo over at Chicago State University, teaching and educating men of Black origin. And so we've been working with them for the past 2 years. And so we continue with those young brothers who are college students. and we continue to go and take them with us when we went to Percy L. Julian High School that following week. And so we've been to Proviso West. We've been to Art in Motion. And so now we have Walter H. Diet High School coming up, Betty Shabazz Academy, and we're waiting to see when we're going to go to Barbara Sizemore. So we have about maybe 20, 25 schools that participated on October 16th that we have to go back into. But then now we have to also look at some of the schools that are having different types of issues. And we're not looking at just the students, because holistically speaking, how can you work with the young people and not work with the parents or those who are supposed to be the stewards of these young people? As we saw with the parent, the mother that was jumped on by the children a few weeks ago. We have to work with the adults, but we can't leave the adults that are working in these schools out, because they have not only issues that they're dealing with inside the schools. A lot of these professionals, they have families as well. They have issues at home. So we have to look at how to practically help them, whether it's to reset and rejuvenate because they're burned out already. You know, they're looking for the type of skills that can help them out. So we have to look holistically at how to help the young people, how to help those who are the stewards of these young people, whether it's grandma, auntie, uncle, whoever. And then we got to look at these professionals, whether they're in the group homes, the juvenile detention centers, the different school settings. We have to look at how we can help them. So that way, during the school hours, we do certain types of work, but then outside of school, we do certain types of work with them. So that way they can holistically be embraced. And that's what really has to happen with our young people. We have to holistically embrace them, because if we don't, they're being destroyed, not only by the lack of knowledge, but they're being destroyed because they and their parents and those who are over them, they refuse to recognize the seriousness of the time. So we have to be part of that effort to really wrap around so we can make where we live clean and decent places.
Absolutely. And you know, there are gang families too. The mother's a gangbanger, the daddy's a gangbanger, they're raising gang children. Did you deal with them too?
Well, we have to, because some of them still go to school. Some of them, they don't like being at home or on the block all day long. They go to school. And so when they come to school, they take with them the habits from the block. So we have to, work with them to show them that, there's different languages that you speak, which represent your mindset. And if your mindset and your language is a language of the crowd or the club or the corner, well, that's the wrong language and mindset to have when you're in a building called a school. So we don't need you to be Superfly or Tony Montana or Nino Brown or any of those characters. Right now, it's like, Lil Yachty. We don't need you to be Lil whoever that you think you are right now. We need you to be, Lil Denzel, who's trying to learn this math. But you got to be able to show them what it's for, because unfortunately, a lot of times, young people, they don't understand the reason and motivation for learning certain things. They don't know what this applies to. And so if you're not able to show them the utility of what you're teaching them, they begin to look at it as busy work and they get tired of it, they get bored quick. But when you're able to show them how this is applied in real life settings, that's when they begin to say, oh, so this is useful. You're not just giving me busy work to learn something just to be learning it. It actually have real world application. And that's when they begin to get excited about what you're teaching them. And when you can show them how they can help to rebuild the village, see, the recovery of the village can't be a slogan. It has to be something that they can feel, taste, touch, and see. And the first person they need to see demonstrated is us. Because when they can see adults engaged in it and really working to live those principles, it gives them a demonstration that they can follow. Because even with those of us who are older than them, the old saying, do as I say, but not as I do, that didn't even work for us. So if that didn't work for us, it's not going to work for them at all. We can't fake it till you make it. That we can't do that anymore. We have to live what we speak.
Absolutely. Now you're going the school route. What about the church route?
Well, every institution, and I'm glad you asked that question, because we were dealing with some political people and the politicians on October 16th. We only had one political person who, with the help of one of his supporters, he financially helped us out. And we had another politician who stepped up when we gave him the draft of the proclamation. He made sure the proclamation went through the city council, and there was a proclamation that was done for October 16th, which is really a guiding light for next year's 2 days of service, where we're going to have Friday, October 16th in 2026, most high willing, we'll have the seminar, and then Saturday, 2026, we'll have the benefit event. But we had several politicians, Alderman Mosley, Ronnie Mosley, and then we had, yes, and we had he's a Reverend, I guess, William Hall.
Yes, 6th Ward.
6th Ward. So both those are only two that substantially stood up and helped us for October 16th. But a lot of other aldermen, for whatever the reasons, they have not helped. They have not done anything so far. And we're always open for people to stand up and be about it. But whether they are teachers and educators, psychiatrists and psychologists, business people who have the means, but they don't see this as a good investment. You know, some of those who are business owners, we came to quite a few of them, and only a few helped us out. You know, and those who did help us out, we appreciate it. You know, even though some people, they spend more money on their cognac and their cigars than they do on investing in that which will help our young people. So some people at least did help. But I tell you that, you know, unfortunately, some of us, you know, they say some people come to the work of liberating our people. They come by inspiration, and some people come by desperation. And unfortunately, it seems like a lot of people are going to be forced to come by desperation because they have refused for so long to be invested in their own saving, that they're going to have to be put in a desperate situation for them to do something that's substantive. And that's a very sad thing, because it's kind of like being on a Titanic and the boat is sinking and you just continue to party and kick it and BS around, and you got to wait for your feet to get wet, your kneecaps to get wet, the water to get to your throat for you to begin saying, hey, we need to jump ship. But you waited so long that you got a very slim chance of saving yourself and your people.
That's so true. So what about the state representatives and the Congress people? Have you reached out to them as well?
Well, we reached out to quite a few state reps and senators. And, you know, I would say that, you know, going forward, because we have 12 months where we have 300 men. We had hundreds of men that came on October 16th, but now we have to organize the men to work with these young people over the course of the next 10 months. So we're going to, you know, make, you know, more calls to have these different persons in our, amongst our people to come help. Because the reality is that, yes, you didn't come on October 16th or before, but we're going to keep pulling on you, giving you an opportunity to redeem yourself. Because believe me, everybody that we know with the different coalitions and groups that we work with, we're going to let them know who did help, and we're going to let them know who just stood by on the side and didn't give any assistance. So that way you'll understand when it's time for you to come back for election, why certain people are not going to really care about what you're doing, because you didn't care about the youth and didn't care about these efforts that was geared to help our young people in your districts or in your wards. So I just want to put that out there to those who think that, you know, you can just turn a blind eye to the efforts of the people. Just know that we are watching and we are listening.
Yes, and you can't endorse anyone because you're a 501c3, right?
Oh yes, well no, we don't. You know, when it comes to the politics of things, we understand that politics is a process that determines who gets what, when, where, and how. So we're not so much interested in just electoral politics or partisan politics. We're interested in those who educate before they talk about registration. Education is key. So then those who have a healthy self-interest know who to vote for and why. So we don't have to point people in the direction of who to vote for. We just put the information out there and let them decide. But we want you to know that, you know, my background, I've been involved in different types of movements, from the National Hip Hop Political Convention here in Chicago, and us in Newark, New Jersey, when we did the convention. And even before that, after the Million Man March, there was the Political Convention of the Oppressed that happened in St. Louis, Missouri in 1997. And even before that, I've been involved in different efforts on a civic level. So I don't think that, from the perspective of what we're doing as a not-for-profit, we're not engaged in on that side of the equation, but we are engaged in a lot of education, and we do something called polisense, where we give sensible instruction, sensible education for civic purposes, so then people can really vote their interests.
That sounds awesome. So, what do you think about the teen takeover? And how can we prevent that from happening?
Well, we have among us something called the internet that people sometimes, I think, we don't understand. We have a misunderstanding. We think that we give our children iPads and phones, and we think it's only a one-way situation here. But you're not really just giving them a device. You're giving the internet your child.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we have not had a chance to listen to see why Steve Jobs and Bill Gates refused to give their children or their teenagers access to devices. I think Bill Gates said that his children couldn't get those kind of devices until they were 14, 15 years of age, and they still put restrictions on it. They couldn't have it in their bedrooms. And, when I think back on those things and reflect, it makes me to know that, what, we're going to have to reevaluate as a people what we hold dear, because the reality is that we don't know who it is that's these influencers that are posting these teen takeovers, because they put it on Instagram accounts that are called burnouts, where there's no identifiable person a lot of times that originate these teen takeovers. So we don't know who it is that put this out. But what we do know is that a lot of times when the teens begin to discover that these different events are being planned, they begin to pass it on. And then you have those who are not coming to shoot anyone or rob anyone, and they get caught up in it because they just want to be around their friends. They want to, dance and whatever. But you have those who come just for that purpose of, I'm coming to rob, I'm coming to do those things that a lot of us have experienced over the past 30, 40 years. You always had that element that saw an opportunity to get something from those who may be in big crowds, whether they're pickpocketing or sticking people up or whatever. So I think that we're at a time where we have to begin to think creatively when it comes to what we do to engage our young people and how we do it. So that way we don't just make a blanket move and say all teenagers are doing this, because it's really not all.
Right.
I think that those who want to dance, we need to find ways to engage them on the dance level, so then they don't have to go to events like that. They'll have other opportunities. Those that may want to sing, rap, or they want to, utilize their platform and they want to broadcast or whatever, we need to give them opportunities and access and make that the end thing to do. So then we can begin to isolate those who just want to come and steal and rob, because we need to have something for them too.
Right.
Something for them too.
So quickly, can you talk about, have you reached out to Larry Snelling, the top cop? He's a great guy.
No, I'm not familiar with him.
The police superintendent?
Okay, I have heard his name, but I've never met him. I've met different other persons who are part of the police department, but I've never had opportunity to speak with him.
So you may want to reach out to him. He's really a nice person, and he cares about the children. He reminds me of my Uncle Joe, who was the great cop, that he would tell us, I am the law. Larry Snelling is the same way, but he cares about our children. You should reach out to him. And,
Okay.
and especially to the faith community.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that, our brother, Pastor Father Flager, he's one of those who has always supported, and I truly appreciate, not only his spirit, but his commitment and his integrity. And I think that there are those who are present here in the city of Chicago that really want to be more and more active in a proactive way and not always reactive. And, everybody really, if you've been in Chicago for any length of time, that over these next 3-4 months, We're going to have weather that's inclement. And, you know, once we start getting to March, April, it begins to warm up. We'll be back in that cycle again.
Yes.
So we don't have to wait for things to happen. We can get together, organize, plan. And if you don't know what to do, you don't know where to start, call our hotline. Our hotline number is 773-563-4315. That's 773-563-4315. We don't mind collaborating with those who genuinely want to do the work, because we recognize that if you don't holistically work with young people, you're going to have gaps. Everything can't be done in school. Everything can't be done after school. We have to find ways all week. We have to find different ways, but we got some doing boxing and martial arts, some doing entrepreneurship, some learning how to pilot drones, some learning how to cook, some may be learning something totally different, how to regulate their emotions so they can learn how to balance themselves mentally, spiritually. We have many different people that are teaching young people many different things. The problem is that we're working in silos. We're not coordinated. So that means that young people may get 4 hours of something positive and they get left alone for the remaining 164 hours of the week. And so
how does a person get in touch with you?
They can either call that hotline number, 773-563-4315, or they can email us at Brother Enoch, spelled out BROTHERENOCH, at hiphopdetoxx.org. And detox is with 2 X's, hiphopdetoxx.org. Communicate with us, let us know. And just know also, even though Giving Tuesday just passed, we're still raising funds so we can make sure that we wrap around these 1,000 young people as a start. So if you would love to financially contribute monthly, weekly, or just one time, please look us up. We're on PayPal, Zelle, hiphopdetox@yahoo.com, Cash App. So please feel free, because we want to make sure that we keep doing our work regardless to whom or what.
Enoch Muhammad, head of Hip Hop Detox, thank you so much for being on the case, and I wish you the very best of success. And I really admire you and what you're doing.
Well, I admire you, and anytime you need our help, please let us know, okay?
Thank you so much. That's it for On the Case. We will see you next Friday at 7 p.m.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.